Yeah, this was likely in response to that lethal strike that the U.S. took on drug cartels, alleged drug cartel members, killing several individuals.
Busy day here at the Pentagon, another busy day here at the Pentagon, Chanel. So this, what we're seeing, as Willie pointed out, this is an escalation, and we got that first. We broke that story last night. Then we got the confirmation from the DoD.
A higher level of tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela with this lethal strike that took place earlier in the week, but the U.S. seemingly indicating that they will go after more alleged drug cartel members.
3 Venezuelan patrol ships lock into a tight V, daring a U.S. carrier group to blink. The USS Gravely's captain answers with 7 words, "Keep our bow pointed right through them." Why does a commander refuse to turn when steel is closing the gap? In the next minutes, you'll see how deterrence through presence, logged sensors, and a Seahawk overhead turned a blockade into a retreat without a single shot. Stay with me to decode the exact posture, the comms, and the doctrine behind holding course when everyone else would reach for the rudder. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Why does a destroyer hold course when 3 smaller hulls line up to close a lane? Because turning once can turn into policy. At 6:03 a.m., 3 Gary-class patrol ships build a tight V south of Curacao, bows pointed straight at the path of a U.S. carrier strike group. Gravely rides forward as the picket.
According to a government statement, the illegal occupation continued for 8 hours. The incident adds to tensions between the two countries after the U.S. military struck a boat that it claims was carrying drugs from Venezuela.
The Department of Defense calling this a provocative move that was designed to interfere with our counter-narco-terror operations, that statement reads. So we, of course, have heard from the President and the Secretary of State.
Venezuela is accusing the United States of violating its territorial waters. The country's foreign minister claims a U.S. warship intercepted and boarded a fishing vessel on Friday.
The carrier sits centered, screened by escorts. There's sea room, but not a lot, and the line of approach brushes the edge of international waters where every mile matters. On the radio, a clipped voice demands a speed cut and a heading change. No threat call. Just pressure. The U.S. answer comes back level and precise: lawful transit, maintain safe separation, no targeting. The phrasing matters. You tell them you're not yielding the lane. You tell them you're not provoking. You trap escalation with legal angles. Overhead, an MH-60R, call sign Razor 21, takes station. It orbits with sun at its back, silhouette stark, camera turret down. It records every course change, every wake line, every horn blast. The 5-inch mount on Gravely is manned but cold. CIWS stands ready, barrels still. Surface search radar paints the V as 3 pips that surge, stagger, and then tighten. Every lens and logbook runs. Evidence is a weapon here. This is deterrence through presence. You don't hide power, you stage it. You keep posture clean, crew disciplined, sensors rolling. You show enough teeth to stop a bite, not enough to invite one. It's a ladder you climb one rung at a time, and today you stop on the rung labeled documented resolve. Inside the bridge, the choice is simple but heavy. Turn early, and every future patrol boat learns the trick. Hold course, and you bet on seamanship and law. The captain sets the tone with a line that lands like ballast: keep our bow pointed right through them. That's not a dare. That's a promise to avoid both panic and drift. Capability isn't the question. Patrol boats can irritate with speed, spray, and close passes. A carrier group can smother the sea and sky. But the test isn't who can punch harder. It's who can look straight ahead under cameras and not flinch. Credibility is the currency. spend it wrong and it's gone. So they work the decision matrix. Rules of engagement set the edges. Unclosed norms frame the lane. Distance to collision updates tick in the Combat Information Center while the officer of the deck calls out bearing drift. A small right rudder would ease nerves. It would also feed a narrative: the blockade works. Instead, the watch team strips pretext. No lock. No laser. No fire control cues. Just navigation lights, bridge-to-bridge calls, and a speed that says steady. Razor 21 earns its fuel. From altitude it catches the V's helmsman weaving, then correcting, then accelerating. That becomes evidence that the obstruction is active, not incidental. The sun angle makes the helo hard to ignore and impossible to mistake. It's the judge with a camera, hanging over the field. The radios crackle again with the same demand. Gravely repeats the line: lawful transit, safe separation, no targeting. The operator adds time stamps and coordinates to the log, each word tagged to a moment. Future diplomats will read this like a chart. Wakes tell the story before voices do. The V's shoulders start throwing less foam. Speed bleeds. 28 knots becomes something lower as helmsman hedge. The triangle widens by degrees, not yards. That's seamanship reading pressure. It's also deterrence doing its job in real time. Gravely's 5-inch stays cold. CIWS keeps its motors at idle. Fire control stays in the drawer. But the ship looks alive. Bridge wings manned. Lookouts calling ranges. Sensors tracking, cameras rolling, everything in the open so no one can claim a phantom threat. Presence is the signal. Documentation is the shield. Then comes the mini payoff. The V throttles back again. The gap opens just enough for a steel line to slide through without a scrape. No whistles. No flares. No shots. The patrol boats can still bark on the radio, but the carrier group keeps the lane and the tempo. Freedom of navigation holds because discipline held first. You've seen the nerve. Next, see the method, the layered sensors, the scripted comms, and the timing that turned a blockade into a recorded retreat. We'll pull apart the stack that made that V blink and why the logs matter long after the wakes go flat. Power isn't what you fire. It's what you refuse to yield. Under cameras, the bluff met a wall of steady steel and folded. The decisive order, keep our bow pointed right through them, made posture the weapon and discipline the shield. No spikes in tone. No hunt for targets. Just a lawful lane held clean. What would you do in that seat, turn or hold? Comment your choice below. If you want more real doctrine under pressure, subscribe. Deterrence through presence works when the line is clear, the logs are clean, and the ship does not blink. That is how pressure breaks without a single round.